But let's take Wesley in West Virginia. Wesley is a theist that wants to talk about the spirit of Jesus. So what do you believe and why, Wesley?
Hi. Thank you for asking. I believe the second coming happened. That Jesus said on January 4th, and in the year 2003, he spoke, and he came in the clouds with his angels and said, "It is time." And he began pouring his spirit upon all flesh, whether you believe in him or whether you don't. And right after Jesus Christ said, "It is time," a rogue angel named Baal, who also is known as Satan, said the words sad and delicious. And when Satan said sad and delicious, he emulated the voice of Jesus, capturing the tonality, the timbre of Jesus' voice, like a mimic. And that happened on January 4th in 2003. And from that time, everyone on earth felt the latter rain. It is literally a rain from the sky, a spiritual white rain.
Hold on.
And
so I want you to be able to tell your story, but I have some questions right away. So I don't doubt that I felt rain at some point in my life.
Okay.
But how do you know this happened?
I saw my filthy, ashen, dead soul one night. I was put before the judgment seat of Jesus Christ, and he
What does a soul look like?
Showed me.
What does a soul look like?
Without the scales of my eyes, without my imagination, it looked like the shape of my body and burnt into a dead gray color of ashes and blackness. Ashes.
Can I ask you some more? Can I ask you some more questions?
Sure.
So I get that.
The belly was a white pearl of light.
Okay, so I get that. Hold on, Wesley. I'm gonna mute you for a sec if you don't stop talking.
Okay.
So I want to ask some questions because of course, I did not see this happen, right? And I believe that you believe that this happened. So I want to see if I can get on the same page as you with what happened. So at the time that this happened in 2003, what were you doing? What were you doing right before this whole thing happened to you?
I was homeless in Chicago, living. I had found a warm spot on a roof of a place called the Paper Source near the Art Gallery District of Chicago, near the L. And when I heard Jesus say "it is time" and Satan say "sad and delicious," I got up, and it was about 2 a.m, and walked into the street, and about 15 people ran out of a nearby martini bar, and they were in the streets, and they were all saying, "We've got the Holy Spirit. We've got the Holy Spirit. What do we do?" And there was
Wesley,
another homeless man standing next to me, and we looked at each other dumbfounded, not knowing exactly what to say.
Wesley, what time of year was this? You said January?
This was in the year 2004 or
you
2003
said it was
on January 4th, and it was 2 a.m.
Okay.
So
it's 2 a.m.
About 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was
homeless,
and I was, I at the time I was drawing caricatures on the street of Chicago.
So Wesley, there's a lot going on here, and I don't want to disbelieve something necessarily just because it sounds out there, but there's a lot of variables here that could have contributed to something like this, and I don't know how much we're going to be able to really have this kind of discussion on air.
Yeah,
sure.
I
think give you heads up.
Wesley, just I think the fact that you've already changed the year in the discussion suggests to me that you might be misremembering this, and it might not be a very productive discussion to have until you've ironed out the inconsistencies yourself.
Well, nothing is hidden.
I think this might be a callback episode question.
Toss you violently like a ball.
So, yeah, I think we're gonna maybe if you want to revisit this call in the future, some things I'd like, maybe if you were to call back, is to try to figure out what parts of this story might have been influenced by other variables, such as if you were cold and outside in January, some things like hypothermia can contribute to things like this, or hypoxia. If you were hypothermic and then not getting enough oxygen, that could impact this as well. And I'm not saying that what you're saying necessarily isn't the case, but I think that there's some variables that we need to iron out here. So if you can take your story and then figure out a way to tell us um, kind of the evidence behind this story being true, besides that you had this experience, that might be, I think, a better direction to take this. But Richard, any final thoughts that you have on it?
Yeah. I think. I mean, I'm incredibly old, and I was. It's still incredibly old in 2002 and 2003 and 2004, which were all different dates that he gave regarding this event happening. And I don't recall any event happening in the skies with Jesus throwing things out and rain coming down and changing anything. So I just I think if you're going to call in with a story like that, at least get kind of the details straight yourself before you call in and get a coherent story for us to actually respond to.
Mhm. Right, and something like that too. Like, if you'd like to call into the show, we want to have a conversation with you about what you believe and why. So it's important that we do leave room for the conversation and don't try to just tell a story without giving some room for a back and forth.